AOC was giving a speech at a rally, and she was confronted. Let's take a look.
About that a little bit too, because
you refuse to fight tooth and nail against the Iron Dome funding. You refuse to stand.
Let's talk about it.
You're a traitor to the people.
Let's talk
about it. The people of the world.
Let's talk about it. Because let's actually start on that note, right? Because I don't believe in elephants in the room. Let's speak on it, because we are all here in solidarity to fight for human rights for Palestinians and Palestinian kids. So if we care about this, my brother, if we care about it, we gotta be about it.
Yeah!
We gotta be about it. And when the votes happen,
$1 billion
and when the votes happen, they have to about that a little bit.
I mean, what more can I say? I love how people are just telling him to shut up. Like, yeah, how dare you? How dare you call her out for not being firm enough on Israel? Like, I don't feel like he was being rude. He was just, again, obviously for her it's not nice to be heckled or something. But this raises a really important point. The Iron Dome funding. You remember after Israel slaughtered hundreds of Palestinians in May 2021, the United States, which already gives Israel $3.8 billion a year in military aid, gave Israel another $1 billion. And AOC changed her vote from no to present at the last second, right? So she basically, she just abstained from denying Israel that money. And this is really heinous. And it's weird because on the one hand, just a few weeks before that, she was trying to deny weapon sales to Israel, not entirely, but a specific weapon, right? A specific armament. And for that, the Israelis were calling her anti-Semitic, like these government officials, right? I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was the Israeli ambassador to the UN who was calling her anti-Semitic, which is ridiculous, right? But that was good. Like, that's objectively good. I don't know why she only fixated on one. You should deny all weapon sales to Israel. But, we'll take the wins where we get them. And then, of course, this happens, right? So once again, AOC is AOC, and she can't take a firm position. When she's asked about Palestinians and Israelis, she gives these like wishy-washy garbage answers. Right now, she's like, well, if we want to help Palestinians, we have to be about it. What the fuck? Just vote no. I don't care about your stupid phrases. Just vote no. Stop voting for people like Pelosi who kiss Israel's ass. Stop telling people to vote for Biden who is again a self-professed proud Zionist. And when it comes to the Iron Dome, now the Iron Dome is supposedly, it's just strictly defensive, right? Because it's a surface-to-air missile system for short-range rockets. So, the Israelis, they have Iron Dome, they have David Sling, and then what's the third one? Arrow 1, Arrow 2. And so the idea is that when Hamas fire rockets, when the resistance fires rockets, these missiles are fired by Israel to intercept the rockets and then bring them down. The funny thing is the Israelis say that Iron Dome saves Palestinian lives. Well, no, what are you talking about? You are killing Palestinians. That's like the Germans in occupied France saying, well, you see these giant bunkers that we've built on the coast in Normandy? These are saving French lives. What? Just get the fuck out of France. Like, what does that even mean? You're occupying the country. You're not saving anyone's life. So even if you come here and say the Iron Dome is strictly defensive, it only shoots down rockets. It doesn't it doesn't kill Palestinians. Yeah, but it shouldn't be in Palestine in the first place. You're occupying Palestine. You have no right to be there. You're a settler. You're settler colonizers. You take your Iron Dome somewhere else. And if you weren't occupying Palestine, there wouldn't be any rockets in the first place. But nevertheless, it's the principle, right? You're giving money to the Israelis. And she couldn't take a firm stance. She says, oh no, I'm going to abstain. I'm not going to take a position on this. Why don't you take a position? It's very clear. It's no, don't give money to Israel. And then, of course, a few months before that, in July 2021, Ilhan Omar, who's been attacked by the Israeli lobby, right? And called anti-Semitic and called who knows, God knows how many things. She votes to give Israel the $3.8 billion. I mean, that as a woman of color, as a Muslim woman, as a progressive, unacceptable. Unacceptable. I don't give a fuck what you say. Unacceptable. That is grotesque. You explain that to me, because that vote barely passed. They give Israel $3.8 billion every year, and it's a 10-year package passed in put into place by Obama in 2016. But every year Congress has to authorize the payment every year, and that package in 2021 barely got through. Barely got through. 5 votes less, and it wouldn't have passed. Israel would not have got the money. And do you know who gave those 5 votes? The progressives. Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley. Shameful. These people who pretend to stand with Palestinians. Shameful. Shameful. I think AOC voted no on that one, right? I covered all of it on Twitter, on here with you guys. I think she voted no on that. But it's like they take turns, So for the military package, Ilhan Omar will vote yes. And AOC votes no. But then on the next one, AOC doesn't vote no, she votes present. Like, they just take turns being the rotating villain. But in the end, Israel gets the money. And it's because of them. If they would vote no, all of them, the money wouldn't go to Israel. It's that simple. The votes, like these packages, are barely passing. Republicans, of course, support Israel, but they in those cases they voted no because there was legislation in there which they didn't agree with. But they know that you are going to have the Democrats passing it and giving the money to Israel. If the money was really in jeopardy, Republicans would vote yes to make it pass. This is bipartisan. Both parties support Israel, no question, and that includes these fake progressive. I don't even know what that word means, but they claim their ideology is rooted in human rights. You cannot talk about human rights and support Palestine. Support the slaughter of Palestinians and support the destruction of Palestine. That is loathsome. That is loathsome. What's happening in Palestine is one of the most egregious, it's one of the most disgusting, despicable human rights tragedies on the planet right now. 70 years, generation after generation is made a refugee, and you think it's okay to supply, to replenish the stocks, the weapons cache of these occupiers? Or at least you wouldn't vote no? I mean, why not vote no if you say, oh, we have to be about it? That's not what your fucking voting record says. Disgusting, honestly disgusting. These people are... These progressives, these Congress people, I have no respect for them. I'm sorry. They showed promise in the beginning. Granted, they showed promise, but once they got in Congress and as time passed, you really start to see where they lean. And unfortunately, they don't lean in the direction of Palestinians. They don't stand with Palestinians or whatever bullshit they say. Oh, we have to be about it. You're not about it. You're about that corporate bullshit. That's what it is. You're about that Nancy Pelosi bullshit. And again, I don't care what you say about the Iron Dome. Listen, let me explain something. Even if the U.S. Congress was giving underwear, even if you're giving fucking shoelaces to the Israelis, you are giving material support to the occupation. That is not anything. That's not doing any favors to Palestinians, and it's got nothing to do with human rights. You don't give material support to occupiers. You don't do that. And AOC, she didn't vote yes. I'm telling you, she didn't vote yes, but she didn't vote no either. And that's really, like, how can you say, oh, we're with Palestinians, but I won't actually, vote that way? Yeah, you're with Palestinians when you're blabbing through the mic, but when it comes to it, you're not. When it comes down to, the way you vote, you're not. And that's a fact. That is a fact. It's not my opinion. Just look at the voting record. Just look how they vote. They take turns doing this bullshit, right? Whether it's, getting Pelosi into power or the $15 minimum wage. It's not even just a Palestinian thing, right? Like all of the things that they championed, that they ran on, they don't come through with it. Just to give you an example, the $15 minimum wage. At the beginning of Biden's term, he wanted to get this omnibus bill passed, right? So they had a bunch of bills packed into this, and the progressives insisted on a $15 minimum wage. They sent it to the Senate from the House, and then the Senate removed the $15 minimum wage and sent it back to Congress. Let me again spell this out. So the House sent this bill to the Senate, with the $15 minimum wage. So all of these progressives voted, yes, we want the $15 minimum wage. It got to the Senate. The Senate removed the $15 minimum wage. They sent it back to the House, and then they voted yes again. So even after the Senate kicked out, removed the $15 minimum wage, they voted yes. So how can you claim to support that when you're letting legislation through that doesn't have the shit you ran on? It's such hypocrisy, you know. And then they try to flip it in the media. They're like, you see, the progressives, they got the $15 minimum wage sent to the Senate. What? Who cares? It's you voted for it when it was removed. And again, it passes by like 3 or 4 or 5 votes. So easily, you know, as few as they are, right? It's like, what do you have, 10 so-called progressives? They could put their foot down and stop this if they wanted to. They don't. They never do. So, you know, I'm really done with these people. If you can't see the games that they're playing by now, I don't know what to tell you. You know, you're in denial. Again, it's nothing personal. It's just look how they vote. It's really clear they're playing this game of rotating villain.